And let's begin with you. There's a plethora of polls, one almost every day. Does that influence your ability to get people to answer the phone?
Well, it's one of the things I worry about, and I do like to say that one of the secrets of my success, to the extent I have it, is that I worry about things. And we really have a fear, I have a fear of voter fatigue, poll respondent fatigue, because the phone rings all the time. And it's not just polling operations like mine. I do the Iowa poll for the Des Moines Register and for Bloomberg News. But it's also campaigns that are calling, trying to do voter ID, figure out who it is that they want to follow up with to be sure that they go to vote. You have numerous news organizations and universities doing polls. It just can get to be too much. So we hope people will sort of support their local sheriff and always answer if it's the Iowa poll.
Exactly. Chris, I'm wondering what the research says about the influence of all this polling data on voter activity.
Well, I think it's a bit mixed. It says, if you have polls that come out and start to show a consistent trend for a particular candidate, that increases enthusiasm, that increases the possibility, or at least the probability of better fundraising numbers, and it increases the likelihood, I think, of turning out to vote. On the other hand, if you have a case where a candidate is way out in front, that enthusiasm starts to go down. And in that case, you're likely to see lower turnout. So I think there is some effect there. But it's not always consistent. And at this point, as Dean mentioned, with the ubiquity of polling, at this point, I think it's hard to get voters to rely on a poll, or at least be convinced that a particular poll is the most accurate poll and not a partisan poll.
Art, what's your take on this plethora of polls? Do you think people are now just disregarding them in terms of how they impact voter behavior, or do you think it really does have an influence, a bandwagon effect, if you will?
Bandwagon effects can occur under very limited and narrow set of circumstances. They generally don't happen. It's not because of the polling. It's usually other kinds of things which get people to start moving in one direction or another. But when it happens and the polls start showing it, that can validate the movement to people and make it easier for people who are wavering to say, oh yeah, this is the right thing to do.